and shine. Rise and shine.
Good morning, Grenada. It's your boy Troy Gill, and welcome to Rise and Shine. And of course, you know how we do it. All right, we have lots of great information, great content coming your way. But of course, we want to start with this morning's fitness to get you pumped and ready for today. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Nawasa app brings the power of Nawasa's customer service experience to you. Instant, conversational, and smart. Easy access anywhere. Get bill balance, transaction history for up to 6 months, report a fault, link to websites, view payment centers, contact information, push notifications, and multi-tenant accounts, all in a secure login platform. Like a self-service concierge app, mobile.nawasa.gd gets you the support you need much faster. Available on both Android and iOS platforms. mobile.nawasa.gd, your customer support companion. Nawasa, committed to meeting customers' needs.
The Diocese of St. George's in Grenada presents its 2022 series of Lenten Mission, March 21st to 25th, 7 p.m. nightly. This year's mission will be guided by the theme, "Whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me," reflecting on the scripture, Matthew 25:31 to 46. Mark your calendar. Monday, March 21st, Sacred Heart, Petite Martinique. Tuesday, March 22nd, St. Patrick's, Hillsborough, Carriacou. Wednesday, March 23rd, Christ the King, Grand Roy. Thursday, March 24th, Blessed Sacrament, Grand Anse. Culminating on Friday, March 25th, St. Martin de Porres, Roman Catholic Church, Crochet, St. Andrew. The 2022 Lenten Mission, March 21st to 25th. We look forward to journeying together. Streaming live on all Good News Catholic Communications platforms.
Say hello to Grenada's hidden gem, Mandela Court, a Grenadian-owned luxury boutique hotel tucked away in Lansipine. Our fully equipped suites are now complemented by an international standard restaurant and conference room. So whether you're having a formal business event, quaint garden wedding, or just a relaxed dinner for two, you can count on Mandela Court for that luxurious experience. Call today to book your viewing or reservation. We look forward to welcoming you.
We are committed Catholics. Listen to us.
Youth like us must be given a hearing.
I am a farmer and I have a story to tell.
I'm a farmer and I too would like to share my story.
Even though we walk over there Sunday to Sunday, we too have a story to tell.
I am a Catholic sometimes and I have things to say.
I need someone to listen. I have a lot to say on behalf of single parents.
The Catholic Diocese of St. George's in Grenada has begun a synod process. Pope Francis has involved the Universal Church. Your voice is important. Come, share your story, your experience, and your expectations of church.
Good morning, Grenada. It's your boy Troy, and of course, this morning we want to get straight into our workout to get you pumped and get you ready for today. We are here in St. George's, just over Sendell Tunnel, guys. All right, and this morning's workout is focused a little bit on more of your legs, a little bit of your core. All right, guys, so we want to get straight into it. So follow me as we go along. All right, you guys ready? So put your hands on your temple, you lift your knees up, right? We're gonna alternate it, then we're gonna get some squats going. And like I always say with the squats, all right, you squat to where you can reach. For those of you who have bad joints, you have bad knees. All right, you guys ready? Let's go. So 1, squat, nice and easy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nice and easy. 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Then we're gonna get into a state of what I call active rest. All right, guys? So we're gonna be doing 2 movements this morning, all right? So we're gonna get into the second movement. All right, guys? So this is what I call active rest. You're resting in and between workouts, but you're still, right, burning some calories, right? Lifting those knees, moving those hands. All right, guys? All right, so second movement. You guys ready? Let's go. 1, squat. Nice. 2. Nice and easy. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Good job, guys, if you were following. And like I said to you before, if you can't do the deep squat, all right, you can squat to where you can reach. All right, guys? Right. All right, so we're back into a state of active rest, right? We're trying to burn as much calories as possible and get a nice little sweat going. All right, guys, and like I always say, always take your sips of water in and between sets, right? Make sure that you stay hydrated. All right, so we're into our second round. You guys ready? All right, let's go. 1, squat. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Woo! Good job, guys. If you are following, and this is going to help to tone, right, your leg muscles. All right, guys. Squats are very effective for toning your legs, right, your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, right, getting your legs nice and toned. All right, and with that first movement, it also targets a little bit of your abs as well. All right, so we're back into a state of active rest, right? We're getting into the second workout in the second round. You guys ready? All right, let's go. 1, squat, nice and easy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Good job, guys. If you were following, and remember to take your sips of water in and between sets, right? It's important to stay hydrated, guys. Really important. All right, so we're going into our third and final round of exercises, right? And like I said before, this is a very effective exercise that targets your legs and your abdominals as well, your abs. All right, guys, to get you nice and toned, right? And we're still in a state of active rest in and between sets. All right, guys, very effective, very simple, yet very effective workout. All right, guys, and like I said to you before, I just want to encourage you, right, to squat to where you can reach for those of you who have bad knees. All right, guys, so we're into our final round. You guys ready? Are you guys ready? All right, let's go. 1, squat, good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Good job, guys. If you're following, and now we are back into a state of active rest. All right, guys, remember, take your sips of water in and between sets as well. All right, so we're into the final exercise in the final round. I hope you guys have been following. All right, guys, you guys ready? All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, 10. Woo! Good job, guys. If you're following, very simple, yet very effective exercise that you can do to get your legs nice and toned, right? Get them in shape, and it also targets your midsection as well. All right, guys, so we're gonna do a quick cool down, just to get a little stretch going. All right, guys? Nice. So you spread your legs apart, nice and easy. Push your knees back. You reach down as far as you can go, down to the floor, nice and easy, to where you can reach. If you can touch the floor, even better. Woo! And back up. Then you stretch this way. You hold it. Nice. Back the other way. Stretch. Woo! Nice. Good job, guys. If you are following, and I want to encourage you to make water your #1 beverage. All right? Remember to stay hydrated. Drink as much water as you can. All right, guys? And I also want to encourage you to make healthy choices as well. All right, guys? Thank you so much for joining us. See you again on Rise and Shine.
It's a very easy thing to do. It doesn't require any set of, like the people would say, it's not rocket science to take care of your mouth. You know, 3 simple tools: toothbrush, toothpaste, dental floss. I didn't even say mouthwash. People use it, it's useful, but I'm saying out of the 4, if you're only able to afford 3, these are the 3: toothbrush, toothpaste, and dental floss. The flossing is more important than the mouthwash. Why do we floss? The teeth are closely knit together. You have to get something that goes between the teeth to clean the spaces between the teeth, and the toothbrush bristles cannot reach there. Food lodges between the teeth. We all know that. You eat saltfish, you eat any kind of meat, it sticks between the teeth. And you find you have to pick it out. Or some people go and get a piece of thread, which we don't recommend, to put it out. But the food that is wedged between your teeth and the food particles, it's only the floss to take that out. And sometimes if you pass your tongue around your teeth and you feel, okay, I got out all the food and I didn't floss, you didn't get out all the food. Because there are traces of food and food particles that are really, really wedged in that little space. The only thing that can go and scrape it out is the dental floss. And that is why we have a lot of problems with gum disease and cavities. People will say, oh, I brush 3 times a day, and I use a hard toothbrush, which we don't recommend. We recommend medium or soft. And I still have a cavity. Yes, you still have cavities because you're not flossing between the teeth.
What about toothpicks?
Can it go between? If your teeth are close together, can the toothpick really go and rub rub that space there, and really get out everything that's there? And you have to floss before you brush. If you floss after, and you have you floss, let's say you brush your teeth and you use your mouthwash, and then afterwards you go flossing. What happens to the food that you floss out from between the teeth? It stays in your mouth. So the smart thing to do is to floss first, take out everything that's between the teeth, then you brush. Brush out everything around the teeth, and then you rinse. And then you have a clean mouth.
Good evening, I am Tonya St. Louis Lawrence with the details. Attorney at law Cajetan Hood speaks on the recent developments of his client in an investigation that was conducted by the Integrity Commission. According to a release from the Commission, the investigation is now complete and the findings presented to the Director of Public Prosecution. Attorney at law Cajetan Hood has claimed that the Integrity Commission did not interview his client Ruel Edwards as part of their investigations. His comments to our news desk came following the release of information from the Integrity Commission that they have concluded investigations of alleged corruption at the Marketing and National Importing Board. According to Hood, a completion without engaging his client, who is the subject of the investigation, does not make sense.
The matter had gone so far for so long that it didn't make sense disturbing my client's life any further, because I got the sense, based on interviews with him and discussions and other information, that there was really nothing there to defend, really. So the Integrity Commission, that's maybe a year ago, was free to call him and ask him questions. They have not. If they have finished their investigation, that's interesting.
Edwards, according to his attorney, was employed off-island when contacted to be interviewed by the Integrity Commission. However, since they ended the matter giving way for the Integrity Commission to interview his client, nothing happened.
I have no problem with you interviewing him, but you would have to buy a ticket for him to come. You can't expect him to buy a ticket to come for your interview. So they responded saying to me that they were willing to do that. So I said, okay, fine, he needs to get proper notice so he can advise his supervisors and get a sufficient amount of time to travel to and fro based on the particulars of the time you want for the interview. And that was where it was at.
Attorney Hood says while the findings cannot be published, he continues to challenge the basis of the investigation.
If they deem it necessary to conduct an investigation, and I challenged the investigation based on the fact that the Prime Minister made specific reference to my client in a press interview. Our position in the lawsuit was that the Integrity Commission did not have the authority to conduct those investigations because the powers were not brought to the front because of a complaint. There was no complaint made.
Hood reiterates that his client at no time refused to be engaged by the Integrity Commission.
If they come forward with any findings that are published without giving him a hearing to respond to whatever accusations they are, I will surely challenge him. He didn't refuse to take any interview with the Integrity Commission. So we were waiting on the Integrity Commission if they felt there was anything that he needed to answer to contact us so that he could come for the interview. They did not contact us.
According to the release from the Integrity Commission, having completed its inquiry, the Commission shared its report with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, the DPP, in accordance with the Integrity in Public Life Act, Section 44(2), and with collaborating stakeholders who lent their expertise in accordance with Section 12, subsection 2b. The release added that the Commission will share further information following the completion of the stakeholder review process. Attorney at law Cajetan Hood also shed some light on another matter involving his client that is before the court.
We are challenging the decision to terminate his contract. There were about, I think, close to 2 years left on his contract. It was a fixed term contract. And there was no complaint regarding his job at all at the Ministry of Finance. The PSC obviously decided to terminate his contract based on perception outside there, which was wrong because one, we challenged what was said in the media and we succeeded, yes, and now the Integrity Commission didn't seem to have any need to interview him at all. So all of that was for nothing. A poor Grenadian citizen, a very bright, articulate, professional, who international organizations are seeking to hire for his skill, was dragged through the mud for nothing.
Former Finance Minister Nazim Burke says government reserves the right to change the cap on fuel prices if the circumstances warrant. However, the question that should be asked is, if this is done, what will it be replaced with and what balance can be achieved? Burke spoke with our Donella Hostain, who filed this report.
According to former Finance Minister Nazim Burke, given that the government does not have control over the rising cost of fuel, they can decide if it is best for them to keep the current cap. Additionally, he reminded the public that the government does indeed have the right to remove or change the cap, but they must be mindful of the impact.
The government reserves the right to raise the prices, but in deciding when to raise prices and how to raise prices, the government must, of course, be very mindful that this is going to have a tremendous impact, a tremendous negative impact on the standard of living of the population.
However, with their decision will come implications, either for the consumer or for the government. He believes there needs to be a balance.
Should the price go anywhere in excess of $20.50, the government then would essentially be getting nothing by way of fuel taxes, which would have implications for the government's revenue and therefore its capacity or ability to then spend on some of the programs, including social programs that they would want to embark upon. The government really has no control as such over these prices. The question would be, what kind of balance will the government seek to achieve?
Burke says even before the Russia-Ukraine conflict, prices were on the rise. He questions how it is that the government would now ensure that the standard of living does not drop.
Recognizing that already, even before the Ukraine war broke out, prices were already rising in the wake of COVID, with increased demand, with shortages, supply chain shortages, as well as higher prices relating especially to freight and transportation charges. So considering that this war, especially with the impact it will have on food supplies, considering that prices will continue to go up and incomes are not going up to match that increase in prices, how would the government ensure that the standard of living of the population in general does not sink to a level where we're approaching poverty? That is really the issue.
Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostain.
Opposition leader Tobias Clement is also adding his voice to the developments surrounding the issue of the fuel price cap. In an interview with MTV News on Wednesday, Clement says the announcement of the fuel cap was a feel-good moment in the budget presentation by Minister Gregory Bowen, mentioning that gas price will be fixed at $15 a gallon. Nikita Hostain reports.
He mentioned that gas price will be fixed at $15 a gallon. Now, the intake on taxes on fuel for Grenada that was pegged for 2022 was $60 million. I think it was mentioned that already the government probably might have forgone $28 million maybe in the first 2 months. And look at where the price of fuel is going.
That was opposition leader Tobias Clement speaking on the issue of the gas price in the country. During Tuesday's post-cabinet press briefing, Finance Minister Gregory Bowen said that the $15 cap on fuel may change if the fuel prices on the international market continue to increase. Clement shared his views on government taxes per gallon of gas and the fixed price of gas.
When he mentioned that they would have gas price fixed at $15 beginning the 1st of January, they did not give a time frame, you know. They just said a fixed price, and everybody in Parliament knocked table and jump up. It could have been for a day, it could have been for 2 weeks, it could have been for 2 months. But again, that is dependent on what goes on with oil price on the international market. Now, we have to remember, Grenada government would collect $5.50 on taxes on every gallon of gas. So if you look at the price of gas now in Grenada, it's almost equivalent to that of the United States and the other countries. Will the government of Grenada now have to subsidize the cap at $15?
Clement says if the present situation continues, gas in Grenada may have to be sold without taxes to ease the burden on consumers.
Will they continue? Maybe they will have to continue and to suppress the price of the real gas in Grenada as much as possible, because I do not think the government is in a position now to go back and put the taxes at $5.50 or at $5, because if they put it at $5.50 or $5, it might be $25, it might be $30 a gallon. So I think in the future, if this continues, then gas might have to be sold in Grenada without any taxes on it.
Nikita Hostin, MTV News.
Just 8 days ago, Akira Francis, a resident of Grandins Valley, St. George, lost her home and all her possessions to a fire, leaving at least 4 occupants homeless. However, within a matter of days, as was promised by the new National Party's caretaker for South St. George, Senator Nolan Cox, the young lady was assisted to build back and restart her life. Cox was at the scene of the fire on the day it happened and promptly followed up with the young lady and her family, providing them with much-needed assistance.
There is a process, a normal process, whereby a fire report have to be generated first, and then support from the ministry will come, official way thereafter. But we do have support mechanisms through the constituency office for persons in this situation, and we do our best to expedite the recovery process as much as possible.
One news desk spoke to Francis, who said she received help from different people, including the Ministry of Housing. Currently, she lives with her boyfriend, and the other occupants who were displaced are based at different locations. Francis says she's hoping to have the structure up by the weekend.
Things are going okay with me. I get her from Hotspot, Senator Cox, and housing to get my house back up. My sister staying with her boyfriend. She'll come up now and then. Everybody else is there.
This is where police force responded to a call after a motor vehicle overturned on a hill leading up to the Grenada Junior Academy this morning. Our cameras were at the scene this morning and later spoke to the officer who was present and gave this report.
It was a narrow escape for one female driver this morning after her motor vehicle overturned on the hill leading up to the Grenada Junior Academy. According to the police constable Troy Paul, attached to the traffic department of the RGPF, they arrived at the scene with a medical team responding to a call earlier this morning. He told our news desk what he witnessed when he arrived.
On arrival at the scene at the GJA Grenada Junior Academy driveway is one overturned vehicle. Also, one female who was the lone occupant of that vehicle who was lying on along the same driveway. The medical team responded and the lone occupant was taken to the General Hospital to seek medical attention.
He says the driver was reversing when the incident occurred.
The accident occurred as a result, the driver was reversing where the vehicle overturned. As a result, that accident is still under investigation.
The female, who was the lone occupant of the vehicle, has since been released from the hospital.
As it stands, I have contacted the female through her husband, and she has been discharged from the General Hospital.
Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostin.
Yesterday's accident in Montrush involving the excavator, which lost traction and slid over 100 meters downhill, damaging 6 vehicles, is still under investigation by the police. According to Officer Troy Paul, attached to the traffic department, these vehicles are not licensed to be traversing the main road unless permission is granted by the police. He explained the process.
If such vehicle has to move from one place to the other, there is procedures that needs to be done. That vehicle must then be traveled on a flatbed to be taken from one place to the other. If not, the persons who wish to travel with that vehicle must apply to the traffic department for permission, and the traffic department will facilitate such and to make sure that the safe passage from where it wants to go is taken care of.
This, he says, must be done as these vehicles can damage the roads as they do not have regular tires. In relation to this particular incident, the officer indicated that there is no evidence that permission was sought by the company prior to moving the excavator.
So as it relates to yesterday's accident, there were no permission sought by the relevant company so that excavator could have been on the road at that particular time.
Luckily, he said no one was injured. He cautioned the relevant companies to please ensure that they apply for permission and follow the procedure in place. According to Health Minister Nicholas Steele, on April 4th, the remaining COVID protocols that are currently in place may be officially removed, once the country continues on a downward movement responding to the virus. MTV News took its camera to the street of St. George's to get citizens' views on this development.
People are reacting to Tuesday's announcement on the removal of COVID-19 protocols after living with restrictions for 2 years. Some are relieved and believe it's long overdue, as the positivity rate has declined significantly, while some think it may be too soon. While many took to social media to express their thoughts on the recent announcement made by the Health Minister on Tuesday on the removal of COVID-19 restrictions, MTV spoke to citizens in St. George on the announcement. This citizen believes the removal of the mandate will be good for the economy.
To be honest, I honestly think it's been a long while. I feel like we took a while to follow the bigger countries like England and so on, who've basically taken out the mandates, and everybody is just moving normal now. Like COVID is just a common cold, and they said that, you know, we'd have to treat it as a common cold. People are going to be able to go back out to work. The kids and them will not feel uncomfortable with this mask all over their face. I just feel like less money spending on masks and all these cocktails to go inside business places. And secondly, what I find really interesting is the fact that with the rallies and the election process that's going on, there's one set of rules and then there's a different set of rules for just regular fetes. You know, why do we have to be fully vaccinated to go to a fete? Like, you know, cut out all of that.
Another citizen says the removal of the restrictions should have been done a long time ago.
Frankly speaking, these restrictions is keeping back Grenada and its development in terms of people being able to ply their trade, you know, whether they're employed, self-employed, or whether they have to go to work to earn a decent living. So I find that it is ample time for them to remove all the COVID restrictions so the country could be open up more for commerce and for trade and so forth. So I have no objections. I'm very happy that the Minister and the Ministry of Health and the government at large is making such a move.
One woman says some of the protocols should remain as we are not yet out of the woods and some countries are still battling with the COVID-19 virus.
With the mask, we could keep the mask, especially if in closed buildings, we could keep the mask. But the vaccine, I think we should leave it for a little while. Maybe after the carnival or something.
Nikita Hostin, MTV News.
and welcome to Rise and Shine for today, Thursday. It is the 17th day of March, 2022. I'm your host, Jocelyn Crosby. It's always a pleasure to be here with you to say good morning and, of course, remind you that there's always a positive option in making your day, positive in thinking, that results in positivity. At the end of the day, you are more productive. So we do hope that we can continue to encourage that with you today. It's a beautiful day. It's it looks like it's going to be a very hot day, and I think we welcome that. We do welcome that. We are into the sports season, and we see a number of our schools are having their annual sports meet. So it is encouraging that the weather is favorable so that they can happen successfully. Yesterday, Anakin High School held their annual sports meet. I think GBSS will be today. So it's happening. PBC started off the sports meet, the first sports meet for the season. So it is quite interesting. We are slowly getting back to what we know. So one time, let's go over to Met Office for this morning's weather forecast as we help you plan. Good morning.
Currently, the weather is wind from the east-northeast, barometric pressure 1040.9 millibar. That's above normal and rising. Present temperature 25.7 degrees Celsius, relative humidity 70%. Yesterday's maximum temperature 30.7 degrees Celsius. Last night minimum 24.9 degrees Celsius. And no rainfall recorded over the past 24 hours. Hence, the total for the month remains at 2.8 millimeters. Now let's have a look at the forecast for today and tonight. Today we expect some cloudy and windy conditions with a slight increase in cloudiness during the evening. Maximum temperature 30.5 degrees Celsius. Winds east-northeasterly to easterly at 13 to 23 miles per hour, gusting higher at times. Seas moderate to rough, waves up to 9 feet in northeasterly to easterly swells. Hence a marine advisory is in effect. Tide will be low at 10:15 a.m. and high at 3:30 p.m. Sunset today at 6:19, rises tomorrow at 6:14. Here's a repeat of the forecast, but for today and tonight. Cloudy and windy, with a slight increase in cloudiness in the evening. Maximum temperature 30.5 degrees Celsius, and a marine advisory is in effect. I'm Andrew Charles, report from Met Office. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andre. And that's the weather forecast for this morning. It helps us to plan our day. So we're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we get on into our first discussion for the morning. Our two guests are already on.
Indies flies against England for the Apex Test Series in 3 test matches. Tickets start as low as $20 and local residents enjoy an additional 50% discount with online purchase. Must be fully vaccinated to attend all matches, and COVID-19 protocols will be in effect. Secure your seats to the action. Get your tickets in advance at windyscricket.com/tickets. Terms and conditions apply.
The Nawasa app brings the power of Nawasa's customer service experience to you. Instant, conversational, and smart. Easy access anywhere. Get bill balance, transaction history for up to 6 months, report a fault, link to websites, view payment centers, contact information, push notifications, and multi-tenant accounts, all in a secure login platform. Like a self-service concierge app, mobile.nawasa.gd gets you the support you need much faster. Available on both Android and iOS platforms. Mobile.nawasa.gd, your customer support companion. Nawasa, committed to meeting customers' needs.
The Diocese of St. George's in Grenada presents its 2022 series of Lenten Mission, March 21st to 25th, 7 p.m. nightly. This year's mission will be guided by the theme, "Whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me," reflecting on the scripture, Matthew 25, 31 to 46. Mark your calendar. Monday, March 21st, Sacred Heart, Petite Martinique. Tuesday, March 22nd, St. Patrick's, Hillsborough, Carriacou. Wednesday, March 23rd, Christ the King, Grand Roy. Thursday, March 24th, Blessed Sacrament, Grand Anse. Culminating on Friday, March 25th, St. Martin de Porres Roman Catholic Church, Croshoe, St. Andrew. The 2022 Lenten Mission, March 21st to 25th. We look forward to journeying together. Streaming live on all Good News Catholic Communications platforms.
Introducing the Grenlec mobile app. You can now get your bill balance and easily track energy usage for your home or business. Report and receive alerts about power outages. Plus, stay up to date by receiving the latest notifications. Yes, the Grenlec app keeps you connected anytime, anywhere.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business,
for your education,
for your financial freedom,
for that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
Welcome back. As indicated before we went on the break, my first guests are on already, and we will be having that discussion. It's a continued discussion on that very, very significant milestone of the Presentation Brothers College. This morning I have another two members of the organizing committee with me. Mr. George Prime, attorney at law. We know him, and the reason why we're highlighting his position this morning, remember the theme for the PBC's 75th anniversary celebration is that of bringing to the fore the contribution that the school has made in that of nation building. Mr. Prime is a former, one of our politicians, but his profession, an attorney at law. And we have Mr. Daniel Dubisset. Mr. Dubisset is an entrepreneur. He is one of our landscapers, one of our bigger landscapers here in Grenada, and also one of our former sport greats here. And also Mr. Prime. I don't want to forget Mr. Prime on that one. So those who know of the two, we say good morning to you, gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you for having us.
It is a pleasure of you. Last year, we did have a chance to speak to Dr. Kellon Bob and also Cameron Dufour on the start of the celebrations, but we know that it's going to be a year of celebrations. Every month you get to highlight, do something different. And this month, the month of March, it is going to be a significant one for these celebrations, as you have a very interesting panel discussion that will be happening this month. I'm going to start off with Mr. Prime on the panel discussion, and then we'll continue with some of the other activities. Mr. Prime?
Thank you so much, host. Let me begin by saying, first of all, I want to put on record how I owe a most special appreciation to the members of this particular committee, without whom I think we would not have been able to do what we turn to do and still work in progress. I want to put on record my greatest thanks to them. The members of the committee thus far, Brother Lane, Brother Wesley Simon, Gary Lewison, Brother Yusuf Stafford, who is our recording member, and of course, interchangeably, we have the indomitable Brother Dominic Jeremiah, the principal, who comes on almost every committee. So to them in particular, and of course to the General Committee, the 75th anniversary, I want to express my greatest appreciation for what they have done. I mean, as you say, it is always easy to be critical of volunteers. They're all volunteering their services, and of course it would mean a certain sacrifice. So I am grateful to them. Before I speak specifically of the main event that I am to speak to, which is the actual event itself, that 22nd of March day at the Trade Center Annex, the panel discussion, 75th anniversary. I think it's better to put all this into a particular background, because I don't think we'd understand the nature of the panel discussion unless we can understand what it is this 75th anniversary celebration is all about. And I think, Austin, you did put it into the proper context. In other words, I have a framework to work on. This school was established on the 21st of January, 1947. Indeed, the PBC is a Catholic secondary school, and the brothers, Presentation Brothers, hence the name Presentation Brothers College, indeed were both responsible for primary and secondary education almost throughout the major part of Canada, the Caribbean, USA, Peru, and Ireland, to a lesser extent Ghana. So they have extended their wings. And strangely enough, the genesis of the Presentation Brothers, which dates back to sometime around 1802. So it is an institution of some vintage, led by one gentleman referred to as Edmund Rice. He was the one that founded the Presentation Brothers and then the Presentation Brothers College. I don't want to say too much on it, but to give you the background, that really this institution strives for what was really a laudable effort to seek to educate poor people children in a manner of speaking. That is really the ethos of the school. And of course, our brothers who are currently working in these parts together in Canada and of course in Grenada were invited to start a secondary school for young men by the late Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Port of Spain, Archbishop Finbar Ryan. The premises upon which this Presentation Brothers College now sits was a gracious donation by the Sisters of St. Joseph of Cluny. And at least from the 1950s up to the present time, Presentation Brothers College were not only providing education for poor people, boys, but girls as well. So the school, even before the PRG came in with the mixed arrangement of boys and girls, PBC were already entertaining that view where we should provide education to our sisters as well. No doubt you may know now, Austin, the motto of the school is virtue and knowledge. The mission statement speaks to caring through a professional environment where Presentation Brothers College will meet and exceed the expectation of all its stakeholders by fostering creativity, self-discipline, critical thinking, sound Christian principles, and excellence in its students. So to understand now why it is that we are going to speak to the main panel discussion, it is not surprising, as you already pointed out, that the theme is centered on precisely where we believe that service, in other words, Presentation Brothers College education for service to God, family, and country. What more can you ask for? I mean, if you have that as your backdrop, that service is something that is treated very, very critical, not only in the PBC, but certainly wherever a person serves. I think we must give credit to service, whether it is nature building, whether it's country, whether it's family, all of those critical ingredients are crucial. And so this panel discussion, which is going to take place on the 22nd of March at the Trade Center Annex under the theme spoken to, will be guided by 5 panelists. We take the view that students and the present students are also very critical in the future of our country. So we'll have a student doing a presentation. We will also have one of our presentation brothers doing a presentation at the panel, past teacher, past parent, and of course, the indomitable Dr. Didicus Jules within the OECS framework and CARICOM will be the lead speaker, and he would be speaking on how PBC must now prepare itself for the future. And of course, that is not only exclusive to PBC, but as you know, because of the present arrangement and the new development of the world, the pandemic, the view that we are now entering a new phase, one press of the button and we're speaking all over the world, all of these developments would no doubt reach a particular course where we need to prepare for it. And what a fine time to start the real developmental process by laying this panel discussion where all, and it is not only designed for PBC students, all our brothers and sisters within the education field and beyond will no doubt have an opportunity to participate. So we extend an invitation to all and sundry. Most definitely we would want to see our own there. This belongs to them, and so they should lead the way. So I would ask and extend a special appreciation for all our past students. I myself is what you would call, Austin, a student of the decade of the 60s. I started PBC, and of course now I'm telling what my age is. I started PBC in 1966. So my group is 66 to 72, 73 thereabout. So that body of boys, as you know, every time, and I think in each decade you can say the same, every time the name PBC is mentioned, whatever decade you started schooling, this brings about a certain feeling of nostalgia, almost to the extent where we are excited, both as a family and as a school. We continue to maintain extremely close links. And that is, to me, the hallmark of a good school. So for now, let me say that essentially these are some of the issues I wanted to speak to on this particular morning. And don't take all the talk and give Dubi a little break too.
Thank you very much. Prime, you spoke to the panel discussion, but we know that's not the only activity for the month. And your colleague, schoolmate, who's also on with us this morning, Mr. Daniel Dubiset, I want to bring you in the conversation now. We also have an element that speaks to sports. And Mr. Dubiset, if I remember clearly, a couple of years ago when I was engaging you on that documentary, and we were speaking of your glory days in sports, I think it's fitting that you get to speak to this, even though Mr. Prime also spoke to me about his exploits on the field. But Mr. Dubiset, there's another element to the celebration for the 75th anniversary that speaks to cricket, West Indies cricket. We do have Test match coming up. It's next week. And the school's anniversary celebrations will be including, and I recognize that you're using some of the existing activities that you can include yourselves in so that you can, one, raise funds, and two, share of the relevance of this very significant milestone. Speak to us about the school's involvement in the test match next week.
Okay, thank you. We were able to acquire the bar at the main pavilion, the members pavilion. So we'll be setting up at the members pavilion with drinks and food for the 5 days once it goes. And every day you will get something different, and the food will be local. I think that the stand, that particular stand is sold out. So we have to be at our A game in order for us to do a good job. So all we have to do is encourage all the past students to support what we're doing and we will have other things on sale like car stickers and everything else that we have available so far on sale at the venue.
Mr. Dubisset,
Speaking about sports, and yes, from 24th to the 28th, the 75th anniversary committee will be having, and that will form part of the fundraising. But I want us to go back to the theme for the 75th anniversary and the year-long celebrations. We're speaking about sports, and we are into that season of sports. This is the time when our schools would host their annual sports meet. And years ago, now you would be on center stage. This would have been your time. We know the importance, and now we are now very critical of our youth's behavior. And it is the sports season, and sports give our youth much more than just competition. It's discipline. It helps them in inventing so much more than some may think. And I want us to speak to this morning as we are speaking to PBC's 75th anniversary and your contribution to nation building. Mr. Dubisset, today you are an entrepreneur. Yeah, you are contributing to the nation's purse. Both you and Mr. Prime. And I want us to put this now in context with the way our young people are behaving. How do you think the activities that are put on now, this important 75th anniversary, can help turn the tide of our young people's, how they think, their mindset, how they behave, that we can, even if we change one, we have changed enough? How do you think we can then use all of this? Because I know it involves not just our past students, but the current school population is very much involved in the 75th anniversary. And using your stories to inspire them, how do you think we can use what we are doing now? Young people.
First, you have to be honest, disciplined, and respectful. Listen to your adults and your seniors, and don't just do what you think that you want to do. Listen to elders so you can have a guideline of where you should go, what you should do, and how you should behave. I think we adapt this American system whereby we can do what we want, how we want, when we want, why we want, and it has changed. It has changed a lot of things. Now the thing is, when you have sports, when it's in a sports time, your energy, your passion, everything goes into what you're doing. So I think children now should be mindful that respect and discipline is what it is that is needed in order to take them where they want to go. Because if you do not have respect and discipline, you will be left behind in all aspects.
Mr. Prime, I want to bring, not just as a past student, but also as an attorney at law, you have an opportunity to actually be in frontline, in some cases possibly representing people that you might have gone to school with, young people I'm sure that you prefer not to be in that position to do, but your line of work puts you in the center of it. I don't think that our young people, I would not accept that our young people are in crisis, but I do believe that more guidance and mentors are needed, especially for young men, if we are to change the tide of things. And I want your input on this.
This certainly is a mouthful of responsibilities you have made me to think about. You now tempting me now to go back, whether I should speak about my role and obligation as an attorney, as distinct from my role and obligation as a father, as distinct from my role and obligation as a citizen. All three really is enshrined in the question you've just asked. In fact, we always start off by speaking to what is one's task as a citizen. ordinary citizen. And I think Dubie made the point about discipline and upbringing. One's formative years starts off within the home. The home environment is the critical backdrop for all that follows. You know, we always say the first 5 years in somebody's life will tell you how that person come out. And I think really the issue of the home is critical. The sort of upbringing that takes place. They say children live what they learn. If you're not brought up in an environment that speaks to decency, that speaks to honesty, that speaks to hard work, that speaks to industry, in other words, those are the crucial foundations, in my humble view, that set the pattern and indeed the vision for the society that will emerge. When you leave the home, what happens after that? The school. There was once this major competition between home and school. Where does children learn most? Do they learn most in the school or do they learn most at home? The school environment really ought properly to reinforce what it is that you learn at home. We, particularly in this exercise that we're doing now, and certainly the panel discussion, it is to speak to the type of education that is relevant to people's lives. Education that is not relevant to people's life is really not education. And I think we learned that even in some periods in our history, that education must be geared towards the needs of the society. PBC seemed to have understood that from an early setting, that they make sure that you create the environment where at the school, quite apart from the home, at the school, you also engender and instill certain doctrines. And I call them doctrines because that is precisely what they are. I recall in my time, before every subject, you had to pray. Set the format for certain things to happen. Love of brotherhood. The issue of being respectful to your peers. The school environment, again, is critical. So I think what we may have lost is some of those critical features. And basic. You don't need no rocket scientists to instill them. We just need to go back to what we do well. No doubt we have a changing environment. We're living in the 21st century. We want now to ensure that certain things are done, but we should not lose sight of where we came from. And if we begin to relate to those things, and this exercise that we're doing now at the level of the PBC 75th anniversary, I think would augur well, not only for PBC students, but of course other parties who are going to participate in it. I mean, PBC operates in a society, the Grenadian society. And just to conclude, my friend who has spoken gloriously about the sports, I think the cricketing event is not only important, but it should pay homage to one of our outstanding sons who happens, and I say happens because we too have to boast of this major event. We can boast of 3 prime ministers in this country in short order between the time PBC was born up to today. That is a tremendous feat. The late Maurice Bishop, the late George Bizan, and our present Prime Minister now, who is not also within the cricket field, but a formidable cricket captain of Grenada. So we're speaking in an era really of PBC hailing and reigning supreme, even within the sporting field. We can't speak lower than that.
Yes, and I'm happy that you put it all in context. Mr. Prime, as it relates to the activities, your contribution to nation building, tying the panel discussion, the sporting activity, and also what's happening now with our youth, because I know the activities that are planned are also meant to shift the tide on our young people's thinking, because the PBC wants to continue to celebrate your big contributions to nation building. And I was about to bring in the part of our prime ministers that the PBC can always boast of. You can boast of people represented in every profession here in Grenada. And I think it is enough after 75 years to celebrate as you continue to contribute to nation building. And I want to commend both of you, Mr. Dubisset. years ago, this would have been your time, Mr. Prime. I think you too, also on the tracks, giving us what you do best. But I want to say thank you again, but I want to give you an opportunity as we wrap up to just remind us again of the activities, the panel discussion on March 22nd at the Trade Center, and also the booth at cricket next week that past students are encouraged to support. I know, according to Mr. Dubeset, that booth, that stand has been sold out. So it therefore means that we'll be seeing a lot of PBC past students and maybe even present students, because we have our cricket enthusiasts here that will be attending cricket that you can support, as it will be going back into the school and the activities that you will be using to recognize the 75th anniversary. So use the time now, parting words, just to remind people of the activities.
Well, thank you once again, Osley. I just want to say in my final analysis that the activities, if you like, can be structured in the form of what we call it quarterly. Between January to March, and this final activity here for March 22nd, together with the issue that my friend is speaking to and the sports and all of that, the curtains down and the first quarter of activities. The second quarter of activities, which starts from April to June, my record revealed that we have 10 activities. Certainly the business forum is next in line. Sporting activities in May, April, thereabouts. The Feast of the Blessed, one of the main founders of the college, Edmund Rice, is to take place soon. Readiness for service, prosper in society, the career day for the PBC, which is also crucial in May. We have a family activity, because PBC, as we always say, is a family-oriented school, close-knit, small, where everybody know each other, family know each other. We live like brothers and sisters in one environment. Then we have a book and magazine launch sometime in June. That would bring the curtains down, this more or less 10 activities. I've also identified some 5 activities for the third quarter, where you have the music and entertainment night, PBC Family Day, fundraising fete, Scientific Anniversary raffle, which is going on now, major concert. In other words, in a nutshell, we have a series of activities still to come, and we want to encourage widespread participation, not only in the panel discussion. And I know the panel discussion would engender a lot of events, because on that day, we propose to seek a number of features where you would hear. And we always say one shape is what determines the future. One, we are given to certain God-given talents. That is crucial. We also have certain abilities, we have certain experiences, family, school, whatever it is. And so the panel discussion really, in a nutshell, is to set up the experiences that, whether it's a parent, whether it's a student, whether it's a brother, whether it's some other person who had some tangential link with the PBC, comes and share on that particular day, while at the same time setting the future pattern, the framework for the educational development, not only of PBC, but the entire state of Grenada, CARICOM.
And Mr. Dubeset, any parting words from you as we conclude, just reminding people of the booth at the match next week?
Yes, all I want is that our past students come out and support, no matter which part of the stand you are. At least you might be able to. Once you're in the members or close to the members pavilion, you should be able to roam that part of it. I mean, if you're in the other stand, that you wouldn't. But we want to ask all our past and supporters to support us in whatever we do for the 75th. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dubeset and Mr. Prime, for coming in this morning and sharing on the continued celebrations of the 75th anniversary of the Presentation Brothers College, as you continue to highlight your contribution to nation building. Mr. Prime so eloquently shared the 3 prime ministers. The current sitting prime minister is a past PBC student, the late Maurice Bishop and George Brazan. And let us also note that now the recently elected leader of the main opposition party, Mr. Dickon Mitchell, is also a past PBC student. So PVC is ready, and I think you do have a lot to celebrate as it relates to your contribution to nation building. So to both very proud past students of the PVC, we say thank you for your continued contribution to nation building, and we will be hearing more from your team as to what's happening with the celebration and the activities as we move deeper into the year. Have a good day, everyone, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Most welcome. So what we're going to do is we are going to get on into our second discussion right away. We have that one with the Child Protection Authority. It's an activity that will be happening this evening. It's via the social media platform, and people are encouraged. And I'm happy that we are having this one now, our second conversation, coping with parenting in extraordinary times. With me this morning is Miss Janelle Grant Hamlet. She is the communication officer at the Child Protection Authority. Mrs. Grant Hamlet, good morning and welcome to Rise and Shine. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good morning, Oslin. Thank you for having the Child Protection Authority on this morning.
Always a pleasure, especially what we may consider to be the storm that we face with the issues that we have with our youth. I don't think we're going to say that they are in crisis, but I think we will both agree that we have work to do as parents. And the Child Protection Authority, I know now that you might be getting a lot of calls with so much that, and as it happened, one during the lockdown, now that people are still settling down, our young people, they are affected. And in some cases, we know that parents are also affected. So we have a difficult circle to deal with. But at the end of the day, I think we are looking for solutions and not so much to highlight the issues. And that's the reason why you are having this very important interactive session this evening. Speak to us about that activity.
Yes, Oslin, thank you so much for introducing the context for our activity. Now, let me take you back to 2020. Do you remember what 2020 was like for us in Grenada? Being introduced to this pandemic, being in lockdown, having to find a way around work and school and everything like that. This is where the entire idea was born, to have a radio drama to begin with. The series of discussions that we'll be having starting from this Thursday and that will run all the way up to the 26th of May is based on that radio drama that was born back then. It is called, I should say, In Times Like These. And it reflected parenting in the time of pandemic. So it's set in a local setting, like a Caribbean setting, even Grenada. And it was featuring two sets of parents, a married couple with one child and a single mother with two children, and how they were dealing with the pandemic and how abuse came into the whole scenario, how it was dealt with and everything like that. We ran it on 4 stations here in Grenada. We even had the opportunity to have it run in the diaspora as well. And the feedback that we got was very encouraging. However, we did not get the opportunity at that time to milk it, I should say, to get feedback, to get interaction from it. And so last year, we looked at it again and we said, okay, rather than just run it again, let's dissect it. Let us have a discussion around the episodes and get people involved, get people talking, get people thinking, right? So the drama is called In Times Like These, but the discussions, they are under the theme Coping with Parenting in Extraordinary Times. It's still extraordinary.
We seem to have some technical issues there with Mrs. Hamlet's connection. Ms. Hamlet, are you there? Are we hearing you better now? No, we seem to still be having that challenge with the internet and her connection. What we're going to do is let's take a quick break and we will try to make that connection again and continue with that discussion.
Say hello to Grenada's hidden gem, Mandela Court, a Grenadian-owned luxury boutique hotel tucked away in Lansipine. Our fully equipped suites are now complemented by an international standard restaurant and conference room. So whether you're having a formal business event, quaint garden wedding, or just a relaxed dinner for two, you can count on Mandela Court for that luxurious experience. Call today to book your viewing or reservation. We look forward to welcoming you.
We are committed Catholics. Listen to us.
Youth like us must be given a hearing.
I am a farmer and I have a story to tell.
I'm a farmer and I too would like to share my story.
Even though we walk over there Sunday to Sunday, we too have a story to tell.
I am a Catholic sometimes and I have things to say. I need someone to listen. I have a lot to say on behalf of single parents.
The Catholic Diocese of St. George's in Grenada has begun a synod process. Pope Francis has involved the Universal Church. Your voice is important. Come, share your story, your experience, and your expectations of church.
Introducing the Grenlec mobile app. You can now get your bill balance and easily track energy usage for your home or business. Report and receive alerts about power outages. Plus, stay up to date by receiving the latest notifications. Yes, the Grenlec app keeps you connected anytime, anywhere. The Grenlec mobile app. Download for 24/7 access.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business.
For your education.
For your financial freedom.
For that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
The next chapter in West Indies' biggest rivalry continues. West Indies vies against England for the Apex Test Series in 3 test matches. Tickets start as low as $20 and local residents enjoy an additional 50% discount with online purchase. Must be fully vaccinated to attend all matches and COVID-19 protocols will be in effect. Secure your seats to the action. Get your tickets in advance at windiescricket.com/tickets. Terms and conditions apply.
Rise and shine.
Welcome back. We apologize for that sudden break there, but it was due to some internet challenges with our guest. But she's back on. Mrs. Hamlet, let's continue our discussion. You were giving us the background to what will be this interactive session on social media this evening. Continue there and also speak to how people can join and what to expect at that session later. That will be running until the 26th, I believe, of March?
May. 26th of May. Yes, thanks again, Oslin. So as I was saying, so the discussions that we're having, they're going to be based on the episodes of the radio drama. So what we're going to be doing on a weekly basis, starting from tonight, is looking at those episodes. The majority of the times, one by one. But tonight, you're going to be featuring episodes 1 and 2. They are already uploaded to the Child Protection Authority's Facebook page, Child Protection Authority Grenada. And what we're inviting the public to do is to go on our page, listen to the episodes, and then join us for the discussion later on tonight. We're going to be speaking particularly about positive communication. Tonight, we'll be highlighting the importance of thinking positive, making wise health choices. As I remind the public, the episodes are based on a family or families in the COVID crisis, in the heat of it. So it's basically going to be reflecting what we went through back in 2020 and parts of 2021, right? The information is still very relevant as we look at our lives, as we plan to go forward, living with the effects of a pandemic, right? We'll also be speaking about instilling and keeping open parent-child communication. So we're going to see how that's going to unwind in the first 2 episodes. And tonight, I have my host is going to be Sarana Mitchell. I will be co-hosting, and my 2 guests will be a child protection officer, the Child Protection Authority, and a nurse, and we'll be unfolding the topics as it relates to positive parenting in those times. Next week, we're going to be speaking about parenting woes, right? Looking at parenting from the standpoint of a single parent, a married couple, even co-parenting and the challenges that come along with that. And just being a parent in a pandemic time, having to deal with home schooling from home, and having your child go to school 2 days today and 2 days next week. I know that we have gotten out of that, but we never know what can happen in the future. So we are speaking about those challenges and how parents can play a role in their children's education, in their children's development, in their communication, etc. So the topics are really current. They're really relevant. At one point, we're going to be looking at mental health and parenting. Well, obviously, we'll be looking at abuse and secrets, fatherhood and responsibilities. We'll be looking at discipline over punishment, money, worries. The topics are really, really relatable. And so we're inviting the public to join us. Tonight, we're going to be on from 8 to 9. We are aware that we're going to be having a national address from the Prime Minister, but I'll be working with my producer to see whether we can delay the start probably about 15 or so minutes, just to give the nation that undivided attention that they need to listen to the national address, and then we will start our discussions then. But we will be on tonight, and we will start, and we are quite excited to start this conversation because we believe that once we get parents thinking and seeing how they can take a better approach to parenting, I think that will resolve many of the issues that we face as a nation, as parents, as guardians.
Mrs. Hamlet, I will say that this is a very timely intervention. My reason, last week, after that very unfortunate incident that was all over social media involving that student and the police officer, we did have a psychotherapist on this program that was speaking one of the reasons identified for what appears to be that minority group of children making what we may call bad decisions can be related, or rather we can take it back to parenting issues, poor parenting issues. And that's why I'm saying that this is very, very timely. What I would ask though, outside of the social media interaction, the social media platform, what is the Child Protection Authority's plans to take it to another group, maybe take it deeper into our communities? Because we know that because social media has so many options, most people would always choose the entertainment, unlike the educational option. How can we take this message to our parents, maybe through our PTAs in our communities? Because, you know, even if we are also waiting on them to come out, that can also be a challenge. So taking the message to them, how do we get the message to them outside of the social media platform? Because I think this is critical and we need to do this.
Right. So the Child Protection Authority has had a good relationship with schools, PTAs, and so forth, community groups. The pandemic, however, had put a brake on the interactions that we've had. Now that things are opening up a bit, we're quite excited because we can begin planning again how we can meet face-to-face with groups, small groups, or PTAs, or churches, or so forth, to continue the discussion. So it's just a matter of planning and ensuring that the plans that we make are still observing protocols and taking the precautions necessary. But we will continue the discussion face-to-face as we've been doing in the past. The radio drama and everything just came about because we were not able to interact as we're used to. But thankfully, it's adding, as you said, another platform for the discussion. So we will continue our face-to-face. And back in 2018, we had a cadre of officers who were trained to be parenting facilitators. Currently, they are putting their program together to bring it to the public as well, to identify parents who are our clients or could be our potential clients, to get them trained and get them empowered to be positive parents in society. So it's just basically planning our continuation, because it's something that we've been doing. It's just a matter of planning according to the times that we're in, taking the necessary precautions.
Okay. That is encouraging. Now that we are releasing some of the restrictions, it means therefore that the work, the real work, will start then. Because whenever we're working within a bubble, what we consider to be a safe environment, it's easier for things to be contained. When we go back to normal is when our true test, we would realize what's really happening. And I think we have already started seeing some of it raising its very ugly head. So management at this stage is critical to ensure that we don't have a situation that gets out of hand. The Child Protection Authority will be charged with a very, very huge responsibility, because in addition to all of this, we know that we are quickly moving into what is considered our festive season. And parenting would come to being, it adds an additional challenge to all that's already happening. Everybody wants to open up and let loose, but responsibilities we don't get to just let go because of the festive season, even though we need to free up, and that we need to be very mindful of. And I know the Child Protection Authority should already have, or not should, do have a plan for this.
Yes, so normally around the festive season, for the past 2 years, we didn't run it, but we normally have a campaign where we put our ads out sharing some quick tips for parents during the festive season. So that will be something that will be hitting the airways very soon again, because the momentum is rising and it's been like pent-up passions for almost 2 years. We really have to encourage parents, as you said. It's not just about letting loose. You know, you have to be responsible. Yes, you want to be able to go out and party and to enjoy yourselves, but you have to remember your children. You need to see that your children are safe, that they're left in good company. You have to still wonder whether or not you have to go to that fete. You know, that you have to sit down and think about it. And I'm happy that all this will be discussed in the interviews that we'll be having, especially making those wise decisions and money management and so forth. We're at a time where I don't think people are looking at spending the same way they did back 2 years ago, you know? So you have to look at the dollar, you have to weigh and see what's important, what is the best for your family, as opposed to just letting loose and then wondering where the next dollar is going to come from. So all that will be discussed, you know? So I just want to take the opportunity, because I know we are past the time. I'm going on borrowed time right now, but I just want to take the opportunity to encourage the public as you're listening. You know, if you have the opportunity right now, go to the Child Protection Authority's Facebook page. It's simply Child Protection Authority Grenada. Like the page and join us tonight, soon after the Prime Minister's address, or probably part way into it, but definitely we'll try to make some allowance so that we can look at the address, and then we will start our discussion. And I'm sure you will not be disappointed. You will be empowered, you will be encouraged, and we're really looking forward to your comments and your contributions on the page.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Hamlet, for joining us this morning and sharing. I know we will have a follow-up discussion to this, as we do have a lot to discuss. Parenting, for many, we learn along the way. We always say the first child is the experiment. By the second one, we get a little better. By the third one, we can call ourselves, close to that of being a major or general, right? But we learn along the way. There is no perfect way of doing it. But what I will say, though, is that the foundation principles and core fundamental values that were imparted to us as children are the things we teach our children. So if we have gotten it wrong from that stage, then it means, therefore, that it's compromised all the way till they become adults, and that's a problem. So to those of us who have had it, I think we have to be grateful And to those we see that need assistance, let's provide guidance, not condemn. Have a good day, Mrs. Hamlet, and we look forward. I will be joining in, and I look forward to another conversation with you as we continue, as we can share and enlighten others on how we can be better parents in this lifetime.
Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day, you and all your viewers and listeners.
Thank you so much. Same to you. And that's what this morning. It was a pleasure. Two guests this morning. We had two gentlemen for the first and a lady for the second. We say thank you to all our guests this morning. The 75th anniversary of the Presentation Brothers College. Speaking of education, the school's contribution to nation building. And then we also spoke of that interactive session that will be happening tonight. Grenada Child Protection Authority interactive session on Facebook later. People are encouraged to join parenting in this very, very tumultuous time. It is different. It is different. We have had an opportunity to face things that we never thought we would have. As I said, coming out of the pandemic, I have learned a lot and also have an opportunity to appreciate a lot more of our people, especially our teachers and so. It was quite a task being a mother and a teacher and everything else that we normally do. But now we have a better appreciation of the roles, the important roles that these people play in our children's lives. And we now we can say thank you. It's not just a thank you to say thank you, but a truly experienced thank you, because you know your task is not easy. But we continue. We have to continue to do what we need to do. And as I said, to those of us who may have a stronger start, that we assist those who don't, who we recognize have not. And let us see how we can make this country a better place, our people better, that we think. And I think all these awareness programs, that's what they are geared at, ensuring that we can just initiate a thought in somebody's head that I thought I was doing this right, but there's another way that we can do it. Let's see how we can inspire others, not only condemn. Condemnation comes through identification. We identify a problem, let's not leave it as a problem, but let us think of solutions, propose solutions, make recommendations, speak and respond in a caring manner, not simply to put down others, as it would not come across well, nor will the response. So let's play our part in making this place a much better place than it is now. So from the team, Donessa, Elton, Tanya, Kishan, thank you again for another successful program here on MTV, the extended MTV family. We say thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again. That's where we conclude for today. I'm Jocelyn Crosby. See you again next Tuesday, God's will. All things remaining the same when we do this all over again right here on MTV. Have a great day, everyone. Remember, we are not entirely out of the woods. The pandemic is still here. Be responsible. We are still wearing masks. The minister said by the 4th of April, it's not the 4th yet. So let us still be responsible, sanitize, do what we need to do. And we still have the options of getting vaccinated, though it may no longer be mandatory. It is never mandatory, but we still have the option of getting vaccinated. Give ourselves a chance and still be responsible. Help someone today. Say something nice to someone. Show someone that you care today. Have a good day, everyone, and a safe rest of the week. We see you again next week. Rise and shine.